So, Tia-Renee, to start with, can you tell us about your play A to B in your own words?
So A to B is a coming of almost age rom-com that is about my characters, Amani and Brianna, who are on their way to a blind date. And it's basically about, everything that happens on their journey from A to B.
Love that. You've described the play as giving the rom-com a cultural glow up. What does that actually look like in A to B?
So I was just one of the big reasons why I wanted to write A to B is because I really wanted to see a Black British rom-com, but I wanted to see one that was really rooted in British Caribbean community because it's the one that has shaped me as a person and also how I navigate love in a lot of different ways, whether that's with my family or with like potential, romantic relationships. So I felt like that cultural grounding was really important for my story. And I wanted to see what it would look like for two characters who come from very similar cultural worlds to, go on a journey of finding each other and also themselves.
What kind of love story are you telling in A to B, and why does it feel important right now?
So I think it's a love story on so many different levels. One, it's, a love story between these two people. And it's a journey of them, possibly finding love with each other, but also a journey of, really understanding and loving themselves. And then I also think it's a love letter to South London. I think South London is one of the loves of my life, personally. And so I really wanted to tell a story that captured how much I love, that place. And I hope one thing that also comes through is my love for, the culture that I've always been kind of surrounded by, and that has worked its way into, how I see the world, whether that is down to like how the characters speak, the music in the play. I think, yeah, it is many love stories and many love letters to people and places. And yeah, I hope my characters can showcase that.
Your play uses spoken words and monologues. What made you feel like that was the right way to tell your story?
So I like my background is in like spoken word poetry, and it is still like a great love of mine and something I like, one of my passions. And I feel like just as a writer, a lot of what comes out of me creatively is just either musical or poetic. Like it doesn't really feel like a choice; it just happens. And I think that's why I've gravitated so much towards poetry. And so my first ever play was a spoken word play, and I think when it came to writing A to B, I didn't necessarily intend for it to become a spoken word play, but I feel like the more the characters came alive in my mind, the more they started rhyming really weirdly. But I think that even down to the way that I like laid it out on the page and I was writing the scripts, like I approached it like I was writing a poem. And I think it goes so nicely with me wanting this to ultimately be like a love letter, because if all of the characters are all kind of connected by being part of this love poem to each other, to themselves, to South London, to British Jamaicanness, then to me it just like makes so much sense that it's going to be heightened, it's going to be lyrical and musical, because I feel like there's an inherent musicality or poetry to even the way that we speak and operate in the world as well. So I really wanted the way that I wrote it to capture that.
I'm actually going to go back to your South London love and British Jamaican culture, because South London and British Jamaican culture feels very central to the piece. How did you go about bringing that world to life authentically for stage?
So I think that there are different ways to be authentic, and I would never claim to be representing the entirety of British Jamaican South London, but I really wanted to pay like homage to the things that shaped me as a British Jamaican South Londoner. And kind of along the way, I learned that there are loads of experiences that I try to like include that are like little mini uniters across like my friends in the diaspora. And it's a dream that people could like see themselves represented or seen that way, like through a play that I've written. And so I think I really just tried to, take the little things from the way that people speak. I think language was a huge thing. I really wanted to reflect the spectrum of like Black British language. I think the legacy of patois in, how we speak, especially in South London, is huge. And I really wanted to show that in how my characters speak and how they put together their sentences, in how their family members speak, whether that's in full patois or in a little bit of a remixed version of English. And I think that is really, really reflective of my community and how I grew up in the different voices and languages that I grew up hearing. And I think that was really, really important for me. I think music is another big part of the play. I really just wanted to pay a respect to the sounds that, again, like really shaped me, and the areas that I was always in, and the sounds that make me feel like I'm at home, you know, with my family. Like I went to Cambridge University, which felt so far away, like both geographically and culturally. And so I wanted to put in music that made me like, that would bring me back home when I was like up in Cambridge, or whenever I've been in like any other space where I needed to be reminded of, you know, where my roots were. And so, yeah, that was also a really, really big thing for me. And then, yeah, just like, I guess little kind of just nods to the culture. I think the little things build the picture up for me. And I really hope that, yeah, people can see themselves, you know, reflected and represented in those little moments, because I feel like the more specific it is, the more universal it is, in a really weird way.
I bet you so many people will see themselves, whether it's in the characters or in the sounds, the themes, everything. I'm certain, because there's so much. It feels like a boiling pot of richness. Your play looks at love in a world full of distractions, from social media to everything moving so fast. How do you think that's shaping the way we connect with each other today?
I feel like weirdly, social media almost feels like a kind of stage in and of itself. Like it's somewhere where, you know, it's hyper curated, you know, even though you can like go on there as you, there's always a certain version of yourself that you're presenting. And I think in a lot of ways it's created so many new possibilities for connection, but it's also been a little bit of a barrier to connections as well. And so I think that balancing act is really weird to navigate, especially as a young person who has grown up like while there has been social media like forever. But I also think that in social media being a stage, like there is that level of performance, but I'm really interested personally in what happens when that, you know, performance is stripped down. Like what are we left with? In real life, I try to kind of like be myself as much as possible, obviously. But again, like I'm not immune to, you know, curating myself or the things that I put out there about myself. And I think that really exists, just like in how a lot of people my age and probably beyond that like navigate like relationships and things like that, because there is this like idea that like even though we are all like always being seen, like are we really being seen and understood? And yeah, I really wanted my play to kind of exist in that in between, where the characters are very much navigating that world, but it's about what they actually do with it.
The play's full of chaotic, relatable moments. What's one that feels closest to your own experiences?
Okay, I feel like without spoiling the play too much, I would just like to say that there are little bits of, I think there are little bits of my experience sprinkled in, and I think as a Black person who is also a creative and who I guess has like wears multiple hats within like the creative scene, I think that one of the things that rings really true for me personally in the play is, you know, the characters' relationships to their like creativity and their artistry. And I think that informs the way that they approach every situation that they get into in the plays. But as for the specifics, I really do think like people are just going to have to book their tickets.
What has the journey been like so far, and what are you looking forward to the most when you see it on stage?
I think the journey's honestly been so fun. I think fun is honestly like the word at the front of my mind, because as much as it has been like new and a little bit terrifying, but in a good way, like I've had so much fun with every person who has, you know, been along for the ride in terms of making A to B what it is. I feel like it's all happened really, really quickly, but I've also been able to learn so much. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to kind of keep learning and bring what I've learned into, you know, rehearsals, into, you know, how we really like shape the play with the whole team. Like honestly, I think it's all come together as such an amazing like jigsaw of like things. And I'm really, really excited to like work with Ewa, the director, work with Zakia and Shay, to yeah, just bring it to life. Because I feel like every step of the way I've been able to like see it come to life in a different way. And like this show is just going to be the culmination of all of that. And I don't think anything but good can come out of that process.
What do you hope audiences feel or recognize when they watch A to B?
Well, I hope the audiences feel like entertained. I mean, it's a rom-com. I hope that they can laugh. I wanted a play about, you know, young Black people that you can laugh about, and you can actually like have fun in the room. That is really, really important to me. That it's just something that is joyful and hopeful. So yeah, I think I really want audiences to take away that sense of Black joy and that sense of hope, and yeah, just a belief in love again, whether that is for a person, a place, a thing. That I think is just really infused like my writing of the play, and hopefully it will infuse the whole process of making it as well. But yeah, I think that's what I would like audiences to like come away with.
I love that. Inspired by your play having spoken word in it. So I'm going to basically say a sentence, and I would like you to finish the last line in a spoken word inspired way. The first one is, love in London feels like
warmth.
The dating scene right now is
a storm.
South London sounds like
drums.
To be truly seen is
to be undone.
Black love is
beautiful.
100%. And the kind of love I write about is
hopeful.
So my very final round of questions is quick fire questions. It's just the first thing that comes to your mind. So the first one is your favorite theatre space.
I really like the Royal Court Theatre Bar.
Favorite theatre show that you've seen?
I'm just going to have to go with my favorite this year, which is Choir Ball.
Dream guest, someone you would love to see your play. They can be dead or alive.
Michaela Cole.
Proudest career moment to date?
My recent staged reading at the Royal Court.
And the person who's had the greatest impact on your career?
I would say my mum and dad.
That's really
That's
nice.
people, but my mum and dad.
Thank you so much.